For millions of years, mankind lived just like the animals. Then something happened, which unleashed the power of our imagination. We learned to talk. There's silence surrounding.
Is it Little John?
You got me.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I've got a little bit to ask you there. From my view of the TV, he's got a cup of coffee in his hand.
You're asking me? Okay.
I'm 55 years old, and I've learned in my lifetime that the majority of people are followers. There aren't a lot of leaders out there. They need to follow. Right after 9/11 hit, it was amazing to see how many churches were filled up and how many people were riding around with their flags blowing. And then our country got complacent in a very short period of time. The churches, they got diminished. The flags, they quit flying. Atheism in itself, I guess, could be something you want to go with. But are any of you a combat vet?
Yes.
You're a combat vet.
I'm a Gulf War veteran, and I was along with the first troops that went into Haiti in the early 90s.
Okay. Well, if you're a Gulf War vet, you've seen firepower. I'm a Vietnam veteran. Seen a lot of firepower. I was in recon. So when you see that, how life can be snuffed out so quickly, there's got to be basis for some belief.
No.
Why?
Well, I mean, what do you mean by some belief?
You've got to. You just got to.
I'm
trying to figure out how to say it where it'll make sense to you.
Well, it seems like there's two little problems here. One, you seem to be implying that there's no atheists in foxholes, which we know isn't true. But the other thing is that when you talk about how life can be snuffed out, to me, that demonstrates the intrinsic value that we place upon life, or actually intrinsic's wrong. It demonstrates the value that we place on life. And as soon as I realize how fragile life is, how easily it can be snuffed out, what that does is it makes every moment that much more precious. It doesn't say anything about belief in a higher power or about belief in an afterlife. It just tells about how much value we're going to place on this life.
I won't argue that with you. That is true. It does. It puts that thought in your mind and in your heart, how powerful life is and the acceptance of life. And what do you do with that acceptance and that power and that knowledge that you have just learned? You're going to go out and you're going to speak it to people. And it's the same thing in the Bible. It's what comes out of your mouth. Now, mind you, I'm not a Bible thumper at all. Far from it. But I'm a believer. I believe there is a higher power.
Okay.
And I don't know where it came from. I don't really know what exactly it does. We didn't just pop out of a balloon on this big old rock.
And nobody's claiming that we did.
Right.
Well, I mean, to me, that what you've done is just another example of a straw man. You're saying that you believe because you don't accept this idea that we just popped out of a balloon on a rock. But nobody's proposing that. Nobody's saying that's where we came from.
Right. You all just believe that there is no God.
Uh-huh.
Where is your belief? What belief do you stand on? I've seen your show before. I've watched Alex Jones' show before, and I've just sat back and thought, okay, well, what do these atheists, what is it that they believe in? Do they believe wholeheartedly in themselves? Are they a God upon themselves?
No, we don't believe in it.
It?
No, we don't believe in any gods, which includes the fact that we don't believe that we are gods.
But
I'll
what
tell
do you believe in as an individual?
I'll tell you what I believe in as an individual, and I don't speak for the other people assembled here, although I'm sure that some of them would agree with me. I believe that there's a real universe. I believe that there's a real planet Earth with real people in it whose feelings and beliefs and states of mind are real. I believe that people's right to life and their happiness and their liberty are important. I believe that they're worth defending for their own sake, not because some magical being in the sky said so. And I believe that people are best served by facing reality, figuring out how to improve their own lives, figuring out how to make the world better, and working out how best to make themselves and other people happy. I actually take issue with something that you said earlier, where you said that in the beginning, right after September 11th, everybody went to church and started flying flags. And of course, you're right, but I disagree with your unstated assumption that this is necessarily a positive or useful thing. In fact, what I noticed after September 11th was that there was already something that I regard as destructive, which is basically using religion as a bludgeon to sort of divide the world up into kind of an us and them mentality, which in my opinion is exactly the same thing which led to 9/11.
Our government led to 9/11. Our government put 9/11 together because they put Bin Laden together. They put the Taliban together.
He's not talking about inside job stuff. He's talking about the travesty we made of the situation in the Middle East and who we supported that caused us to develop enemies that would do this.
Right. We were the ones that put all that together. And so that's why I say that after 9/11, and I'm a patriot all the way to the bottom of my bones. If I have to fight against my country for our values that we once had, that we have now lost.
Like what?
I will in a heartbeat. Our Constitution has been slashed and amended left and right. Our Bill of Rights has been slashed.
We're with you there.
Yeah, I agree.
And the only thing it's going to do is take people, patriots, to get together and start taking apart our country piece by piece until we can get it back to where we have laymen in our offices and not professional politicians.
I agree with you there.
I mostly agree with you.
I want to ask one question because, and this is only because I think it needs to be clarified a little bit. You asked what we believe in, and there's two different issues here. There's one about what you believe with regard to existence. Do you believe that X exists or X is true? But you asked about what we believe in, and before I could actually answer that, I need you to kind of explain what you mean by believe in. Are you just, what principles do we believe are good or valuable? I mean, I don't believe in.
Well, the gentleman sitting next to you, he pretty well answered all of that.
I mostly agree with him.
There's nothing wrong with those beliefs. Those are wholehearted beliefs. Those are inner beliefs.
Yeah.
That's where where you divide the leaders from the followers, or those that have those inner beliefs and are willing to go out there and stand up and speak their piece.
I think you just complimented me, so thank you.
Well, that's the direction that it went in. The Middle East is so much like Japan was. They were not afraid to die for their country. How many people in this country that are Americans will strap a satchel pack to them and go into any place and blow it up?
Boy, I hope none.
Yeah, I mean...
None, because we have too much of a value on life. And our life has not been constantly inundated with a religion that's teaching the youth up to adults away from the Quran.
We're just teaching our youth to disregard science.
Exactly. Teaching our youth that dying for your country is one of the most fantastic things you can do for your country, is to die for it. And like I said, being American myself, I know that there are very few people out there that will go out and sacrifice their life for a purpose. Not for a war, but for a purpose.
I'm a little confused here now, though, because it sounds to me like you're actually praising Muslims for being willing to go out and blow themselves up for their beliefs.
I'm not praising them for because then it would be the same with Japan, because Japan did the same thing. They had their burials on ground, and then got in the planes, and then they went and rammed other planes. You've seen it in Vietnam. You've seen it in Somalia. You've seen it in Iraq. They're willing to die for what they feel is a cause.
And see, I'd much rather live.
For years and
Actually,
years
when
years.
it comes to patriotism, I'd like to quote another great American, General Patton, who said, "You're not supposed to die for your country. The point is to make the other bastard die for his country."
Well, yeah, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Right.
Hey, we got full lines, Little John. We got a lot of people to get to.
I appreciate talking to you two gentlemen, and whatever be with you.
All right.
Y'all have a good day.
Appreciate the call. Thanks.
And live long and prosper.
Yeah. Peace to you, brother. I think there's a lot of areas, and we'll find this out a lot, depending on who we talk to, where we'll agree on certain things. And I like the fact that when he asked what we believe in, because so many would assume that, oh, you're an atheist, so you believe in nothing, which is the most absurd thing you could probably say. That when you explain to him what you do in fact believe in, and there are other things, family, love. I mean, depending on how you want to define believe in, you might as well just say we believe in all the same types of things you do. We may not agree with you on all principles. The one thing we don't believe in is a God. And in the case of Russell and myself, we don't believe in supernatural at all.
Right.
That's not necessarily a component of atheism, but it is for us.
Violent, irrational, intolerant, allied to racism and tribalism and bigotry, invested in ignorance and hostile to free inquiry, contemptuous of women and coercive toward children. Organized religion ought to have a great deal on its conscience,